Hey, sister girl. So today is October 15th, 2024. And I'm excited about this check-in today for several reasons. And I'll explain as to why. But today's check-in is bringing me back to when I would have these check-ins and really didn't have a clue that I'd be sharing them one day. The only difference is that I know that I will be sharing this. But when I would have these check-ins that I've posted already on YouTube and on Instagram and on Facebook and on TikTok, at the time when I documented my first several check-ins, I had no idea that I'd be sharing them. In the back of my mind, after some time, I'm like, Lord, are you leading me to document these moments because you would want me to share them one day? I had that thought, but it was never, well, let me document or let me press record because I'm going to share this with somebody. No, it was more so a journey that I believe God was having me embark on as he began teaching me how to create a safe space in my car, how to create a safe space to be seen and heard by me in his presence. Because for a long time, I believed that I needed to be validated, affirmed, and accepted by others. And so that has a lot to do with my upbringing and the things that I experienced as a child, that I believe played a part as to why I felt that I needed that from others as an adult. It feels good. It feels good documenting today. It's different. It's just bringing me back to that place. Because although I share a lot, I'm very intentional and I choose what to share. And I share what I believe the Lord wants me to share with others. Because even if it blesses one person, then glory be to God, right? So documenting this check-in is special to me because yesterday I made the decision to pretty much unplug from social media, specifically Instagram and Facebook, because when I share on Instagram, it automatically gets shared on Facebook. And so I've chosen to not be on Instagram nor Facebook, because I feel like it's been a distraction for me, as I have been trying to get back into the rhythm of things, and it's been challenging. And so yesterday I made the decision to say, you know what? It's something that I feel like God wanted me to do for a while, but I just kept ignoring it. And I'm like, no, for what? Like, what do you mean? Like, why? And yesterday I was like, it wasn't until after, which is wild. It wasn't until after I did it that it made even much more sense as to why. When I say the reason for why I felt frustrated as I've been trying to get back into the rhythm of things, the words unfamiliar rhythm has just been playing over and over in my mind. And because I love words and I love to define them or look up the definition of a word to have a better understanding. I also like to look up the synonyms, the antonyms, because I don't want to assume that I understand fully. Plus, I love words. And okay, this is a side note. In school, I don't know if they do that anymore, but in school for history or for English, you would have to search up words and look up the definition and write them down. Like, that was my favorite thing to do. And I actually was talking to Armani, my oldest, about it, and he's like, no, we don't do that. I'm like, okay, my bad. But I love that. I used to love that. So anyway, so the words unfamiliar rhythm kept replaying. And it wasn't until after Friday's Bible study that it kind of clicked to me as to why it was just super frustrating. And I couldn't understand why I felt frustrated mentally, emotionally, spiritually, more so spiritually than anything else. And Holy Spirit brought me back to July. In July, I believe that's when it all began. The weekend of my parents' wedding renewal, they renewed their vows, which is so beautiful. and it was 40 years they've been married. Glory be to God. And they've been through so much together. So my sister and I wanted to make sure that we were there for them. And so it was that weekend that became a lot for me. It was super overwhelming, but of course, you know, it's expected. You're helping out and you're doing so much. But on that Saturday, I went so many hours without eating. I pretty much went the whole day without eating. And I've shared this before, when I go too many hours without eating, it's hard for me to gain an appetite after that. And I've always struggled with my weight. I've always wanted to gain, and my metabolism is like Speedy Gonzalez. So I've come to accept it, you know, like it is what it is. But I believe that that's when it all began, in July. So July leading up to September, which was the gathering, which was the event that I had been planning. It was a vision that the Lord gave me a year ago. July, around June, the end of June of 2023, he gave me a vision that I didn't know would eventually come to pass, to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of my Bible study. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's prior videos, and I can't remember right now what the title of the video is, but there's so much that I've shared about it. Anywho, so it wasn't until I believe that from then on, it just became a challenge for me to get back into the rhythm of things, because I've been trying to, you know, during those months leading up to September, which was the gathering event on September 21st, just been a lot of preparation, and you know, it's a lot, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, you know. And so after the event, after the gathering happened, it was a blessing, and I'm super grateful for how God showed up and showed out as he said he would. I was trying to get back into the rhythm of things, and it became frustrating because I was trying to get back into the rhythm of working out, which I also stopped around July. And I was doing good. I was doing so good. I was toned. Still didn't gain all the weight that I wanted to gain, but I was content because I'm like, I know that I'm putting in the work. I've gained a few pounds. I've received some compliments. Not that I was trying to do this so I can gain compliments. But it's nice. It's nice so that people, you know, it's nice when people notice and say, wow, you know, I could tell, like I could see a difference. I'm like, yes, I could tell a difference, but you know what I'm saying? I don't know. It just felt nice. I don't think there's anything wrong with being affirmed, validated, and accepted. I think that if you idolize that, that's when it's a problem. And I idolized that for many years until I am grateful to God that he delivered me from that. There's times where I find myself going back to that or having that type of mindset, and then Holy Spirit checks me real fast, like, I delivered you from that, girl. Okay, don't you dare go back. Don't you dare go back. So anyway, it's been a challenge because I've been trying to get back, like I said, into the rhythm of things. And it wasn't until after Bible study that it occurred to me, like, here I am wanting to get back into the rhythm of things, a rhythm that I believe is what was meant for me to go back to. And God was showing me that this rhythm was a rhythm that worked for me at the time. But this new rhythm that he's leading me to and desires for me is not one that's recognizable. And so that's why it's frustrating, because it's unknown. And so when you don't know a thing versus knowing a thing, it can be frustrating, especially when you're trying to do the things that you believe worked for you at a time. It wasn't until after our Bible study that it was like a revelation straight from heaven. And I'm like, I get it. Okay. So since then, it's just been a process of peeling back the layers of what all of that means. And I feel like I'm still peeling back the layers. Especially because I've chosen the words for the new year that makes sense as to why all of this is happening. And not complete sense, but it's making more sense. And one of the words or phrase that I have chosen for the year is deeper intimacy with God, growing deeper in my relationship with the Lord. And I feel like there's no, like, you don't just grow and just stop there. You know, like, you don't just turn 10 years old and stop at 10 years old. You continue to grow. And I feel like that's That's what we experience also in our relationship with the Lord. And there has been times in my life, in my journey with the Lord, that I've remained stagnant, where the Lord was just, desiring for me to grow even more, and I was just content and comfortable where I was, and I delayed myself from much more that God had for me, until I was like, all right, God, let's do this. And of course, he welcomed me and embraced me when I said, okay, let's go. Because he's very patient, he's very merciful and graceful, so I'm grateful for that. And so before my boys, I say my boys because Armani and his friends, I call them my sons. So before they get in the car, they should be getting here soon. Because I love words, I looked up the definition. So unfamiliar rhythm, and then I put underneath, but necessary, right? Unfamiliar means not known or recognized. Synonym for unfamiliar is unknown, new, strange, foreign, unheard of, unusual, uncommon, out of the ordinary. Antonym, aware, accustomed to, acquainted with. So, right, the opposite of unfamiliar is familiar. And when you're familiar, it's something that you are aware of, accustomed to, and acquainted with. But unfamiliar is the opposite of that, right? Which is unknown, new, strange, foreign, unheard of, unusual, uncommon, out of the ordinary. What out of all of that is comfortable? Okay, he's coming. BRB. Okay, I'm back. So I don't know where I left off. I think I was talking about synonyms and antonyms and all that. So rhythm. Rhythm is a strong, regular, repeated pattern of movement or sound. The synonym for rhythm is pattern, flow, tempo, pace. Antonym is inconsistency, imbalance, instability, unevenness. So I feel that where I am being challenged in is that God is introducing an unfamiliar rhythm that he wants me to experience. And once it becomes familiar, then it's not going to be challenging anymore. But so yesterday, as I was looking for a pen, look how good God is. And this is how the Lord speaks to me, right? This is how God speaks to me in different forms and in different ways that there's just no denying that it's him. Like, these things don't happen by coincidence, I don't believe. So as I'm looking for my pen, because I wanted to, write down a few things that I had in mind, because this is what I do. Like, I have scrap paper, literally. Like, I have my coworker who has printouts, and when he doesn't need them anymore, he gives them to me, and I start, ripping them. So I found my pen, but as I was looking for my pen, I found a scrap paper, because I have scrap paper all over the place. If I can't find a journal, then I place it near a place where I'd be able to find it and then tape it to a journal or whatever. Anyway, so on this scrap paper that I came across, not by coincidence, I wrote, loving Jesus and allowing his love to guide me on different pathways of my life. Here I am reading something that I wrote to myself. Now, I didn't date it. And usually I do. Did I on this? No, see, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But sometimes I only date the first page and then I staple them. And then sometimes they come apart. And so I don't know when I wrote it. But I came across it yesterday and I read that and I'm like, oh my gosh. All right, God, I hear you. I hear you. Here's something that I wrote, I don't know when, and it's ministering to me. And what he was showing me is that what I'm experiencing in this journey that he has me on now, what I would call like a season that I'm finding myself in, is being intentional in choosing to prioritize his love in my life, trusting that his guidance is leading me through different decisions and situations, even when the paths seem unclear or uncertain or even challenging. Also, and seeking to live a life according to the principles of Jesus, to the different values of Jesus that he teaches in his word, and allowing his love to be pretty much a compass that directs my choices in life. You know, as I made the decision yesterday to, it's so crazy though. I don't know. There's something about phones though, that here I am putting together a caption, and suddenly after I uninstall my Instagram and my Facebook, I go on YouTube, you know, because I was actually watching a teaching of yesterday's reading, as I'm following the chronological 260 days chronological Bible plan. And all of a sudden, I come across Winter Arc. I'm like, what the heck is a Winter Arc? And one title has Winter Arc 90 days or something. And I believe that this was God's way. I mean, I don't know. It's a little bit suspect, because it's like, I never used that word. I never knew that Winter Arc was even a thing. But yet it's describing what what I actually decided on doing, which was to take the rest of the year, the last quarter of the year, to focus and prioritize what I believe he wants me to prioritize. And it's wild, because I didn't even know that was a thing. But anyway, but I believe that this was God's way of confirming, like, what you just did was me calling you to it. And so if I'm using this to confirm that you making this decision is honorable to me, keep at it. So anyway, so that was that. And what else did I write? Just seeking his presence, growing deeper in my relationship with the Lord, seeking his will in every decision, and trusting in his plan. Then, this is funny. Then I'm at work today, and I'm clicking away, and I happen to open up a Post-it. So there's this app, or there's this option where you can, like, there's Post-its on a desktop that you can, like, write a note and just have it on your desktop. And anyway, I have a few. And so I must have clicked on it without wanting to, but I did. And I must have been listening to a teaching, because I know that these were my own words, but look how wild it is. It says, Esther had to disengage from what was familiar. She separated her, and I don't even know what date this was. And this couldn't have been too long ago, maybe several months ago. Because it's not fresh in my mind. But as I continued reading, I'm like, I remember. And this was a teaching that I was listening to, that I started, like, writing some things down. But this is what the person was saying, and I wrote it down. Says, or maybe this was just what came to me as I was listening to them. It says, Esther had to disengage from what was familiar. She separated from her old place and surroundings. She had to let go of her identity, a way of being, relationships, and her role. Esther felt less attachment to what she had known. And then the question that the person gave, because I wrote it, typed it up, it says, when did you first recognize a shift towards disengagement? Do you believe you are currently in a place of pause or disengagement? Then today I'm watching a video, and the person references Isaiah 40:31, which then brings me back to yesterday's devotional calendar. And yesterday's verse was Isaiah 40:31. Oh my gosh. And it stood with me. And it's actually a verse that I've been meditating on. And then it came up yesterday's on the devotional. And so I wrote it down today. But I also, I wrote 27 through 31. But I mean, that's what I had written down. And I read it in different translations, but the one that I wrote down is, but those who wait for the Lord, this is in the AMP, but those who wait for the Lord, who expect, look for, and hope in him, will gain new strength and renew their power. They will lift up their wings and rise up close to God like eagles, rising toward the sun. They will run and not become weary. They will walk and not grow tired. And this made me want to, like, look up eagles and, like, what they're known for and stuff like that. So that I'm going to look into. Then today's verse, was 1 Corinthians 15, 15:58. And it says, therefore, my beloved brothers and sisters, be steadfast, immovable, always excelling in the work of the Lord, always doing your best and doing more than is needed, being continually aware that your labor, even to the point of exhaustion, in the Lord is not futile nor wasted. It is never without purpose. Nothing, absolutely nothing is wasted in God. Now, this is the wild part about it. That when I came across, the video that I was watching today, when they mention Isaiah 40:31, in their video, they say, nothing is wasted in God. How is it that I go to today's verse on the devotional calendar and it's 1 Corinthians 15:58, but in the AMP it says, in the your labor, being continually aware that your labor, even to the point of exhaustion, in the Lord is not futile nor wasted. It is never without purpose. And then I wrote, nothing, absolutely nothing is wasted in God. Then I go ahead and press play and they say nothing is wasted in God. I'm like, listen, if I were to try to explain this to somebody, they would think I'm lying. But I don't care what anybody thinks, because I know what's happening. This is how God speaks to me and how he reveals things to me. And then, oh my God, because I have so many books, right? I mean, God knows, and he speaks to us in such a unique way that maybe in the way that he speaks to me, he may not speak to you in that way. So don't get discouraged if that's not your experience, but just know that he will speak to you in a way that will help you understand that it's him. Okay? And as you mature in your relationship with him, and as you grow closer to him and you start to learn more about who he is, you'll start to recognize those things. And that's okay, because we don't just become a teenager overnight. We're first a baby, then we become a toddler, and then, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's stages to this. And for my birthday, I was gifted this book. Help is Here. Finding fresh strength and purpose in the power of the Holy Spirit. Now, you may not get it, you may not understand, but this right here, just this image alone speaks volume, because it is similar to the vision and what the Lord gave me years ago of what my cover for my book would be. What book? A book that the Lord instructed me to write back in 2015. And the book is still in the making. I'm not actively writing. And it's not because I don't want to. It's just part of my process and my journey. So I just read the preface. And the preface alone was right on time. So God is God. That's all I can say. And sometimes we delay ourselves from doing what it is that God is calling us to do. And when we finally do it, we can hear clearly, we can see clearly, and we can understand at a capacity that maybe we weren't able to had we not made the decision to prioritize what we are prioritizing now. And again, is it easy? No, I'm still, processing what this unfamiliar rhythm is. But as challenging and frustrating as it is, I'm not focused on trying to make sense of it. I'm just allowing God to lead me. That's it. Loving him and allowing his love to guide me on the different pathways, of my life. And yeah. So just wanted to document this. Not sure how soon I will share it. Maybe I'll share this one soon. And then however I choose to share any other check-ins, I will. But yeah. was all. Toodles.